Okay, in this video we're going to be covering MemberPress options. MemberPress actually has some pretty advanced and powerful options with sensible defaults. And so I would just like to take you through kind of a tour of these options that are available to you. The first thing that you'll notice when you click on the options page here is the MemberPress reserved pages. Now these pages are used by MemberPress to do various things. The first is the thank you page, the account page, and the login page. The thank you page is shown after somebody registers, and it will present a thank you message to the user. This thank you message is configurable in the product, which we'll cover in another video. The account page is a page where people log in to view their own information about their subscriptions, about their payments, and other materials that you can present to them. The login page is a login page. So let's take a look here at the account page, and we'll cover this more in depth in a future video. But as you can see here, this is the account page for MemberPress. It has their information here, the ability to change a password, subscriptions, and payments. And so you can set that to whatever page you want here, but it is critical for the functioning of the system to have that set. The second thing you'll see here is the group product page slugs. So these slugs are the URLs that you'll find your group pages and your product pages. For instance, if we take a look at our Finance Depot example and we click on our Premium Access registration page, you'll see, and actually I'll have to drag this down here, you'll see that the URL here is, the slug is register, right? So any product URLs that you're going to have are going to be hanging off of that slug. And so that's fully configurable here. Groups are also very similar. They'll all be hanging off of the plans slug, and so you can alter that there. And then finally, on the Pages tab of the options, you'll find the unauthorized access. This allows you to set whatever the text is of the unauthorized message. So we could change it to something a little bit more mean. Right? And then if we go back to our page that's blocked here, you can see that the message is right here. Get out of here. Disabling the mod rewrite access rules, that actually will prevent you from creating custom URI rules in your system, but sometimes this can interfere with other plugins, especially plugins that touch the htaccess file. If you don't know what that is, it's just something to do with your web server. And MemberPress tries to have a light touch when it comes to the htaccess rules, but it does require a few of them in order to protect files that are outside of WordPress's control. And finally, you'll have an option. You have an option here to instead of presenting a message here right on the page that you're trying to protect here, you can actually set MemberPress to redirect to some other page when an unauthorized user tries to visit a page. So there are plenty of options here for unauthorized access, and also just the pages here in MemberPress. Let's move on here to the account. And in the account here, this is all dealing with users logging in and what they have access to and what their general experience is going to be on your site when they log into MemberPress. The first thing you'll notice here is there's a place to set up the URL that users will visit once they log in, and so this is kind of a global setting. Once we start covering products, you'll be able to see that you can actually override that on a product-by-product basis, but this is the global setting. You can disable the WordPress admin bar, so that's this bar up here. If you don't want your subscribers seeing that, then you keep that checked. This will also make sure that your users, so this option right here, keeping members out of the WordPress dashboard, will just make it so users, their entire experience will be on the front end of your website. So it will continually retain your branding. They won't ever see the WordPress admin at all if you have that checked. Here are some options for user registration. The first one is an authenticity token on registration forms. That's kind of a behind-the-scenes way that you can prevent spam signups. It is recommended that you have your registration pages excluded from your cache. If you're using some kind of a page cache like W3 Total Cache or working with WP Engine, because this will not work properly with caching. You can also enable a coupon field to appear on the registration forms. Really, so if you uncheck that, it will hide it. You can disable the standard WordPress registration form, which basically means that people can't register through the normal mechanism that WordPress provides. This is a really effective way to ensure that people are paying for access. And prorating subscription prices. So when a user upgrades from one product to another, if they upgrade mid-cycle, which happens more often than not, right? This will automatically calculate the prorated amount that they have left based on what they've already paid for. If you were doing a monthly subscription and they were, upgrading on the 15th, it would still give them credit for the 15 days that they have left at the price that they paid. Requiring a terms of service, this will allow you to set a URL as a terms of service, and it will enforce the users checking this box before they're able to register. And then here's a little welcome message that you can put on the account page. The account page is a normal WordPress page, so it's completely configurable, but this message will appear below the navigation that is automatically generated by MemberPress, and so that's a handy little feature. Moving on here to fields, we have a couple of options dealing with your first name, last name, and address fields. So if you really need to include first name, last name, and address, you can pretty much accommodate that. You also can add as many custom fields as you want that will show up at registration and also will show up on the user's account page. You can add a text field, text area, so that's like a paragraph that they could type, a checkbox drop down with options, so you can add as many options as you want for your drop down, or a date field, and that will automatically provide a JavaScript pop-up calendar on your registration form if you want to provide a date. So this is a really handy feature for a lot of people. We'll cover payments in a future video, so I'm not going to go over that here. I wanted to cover emails. Emails in 1.1 of MemberPress, they're all brand new, and so we've completely revamped the entire interface. And as you might notice, if you used a previous version, there are a lot of new emails here, and I won't go through what each one of them does. I think that they're pretty much self-explanatory, and there are these little tooltips that you can look at to see when these emails will be sent. But you're able to completely customize these emails by clicking the edit button here. It'll pull up a rich text editor, and you can see what is going to be sent to your user, and you can customize it with your own variables. So like say for instance here in the user information area here, I wanted to include a user login. I could click that and insert it right there. Pretty easy stuff here. And you can also send a test email, which will automatically send to your email address. Or say you want to get rid of whatever changes you've made, so that user login field, if you want to come up here and just click reset to default, it will set it back the way it was. And so really some pretty powerful and handy features. All emails currently in MemberPress are now sent with HTML, so you can actually include your own graphical templates and still use these variables in order to to send important information to your members. The other thing that's new in MemberPress 1.1 is you can actually add a comma-separated list of email addresses, and so you can actually send email notices to numerous different people. So if you have a group of people that need to all receive emails, this will do it. The other thing that has been completely refactored and improved in 1.1 is the autoresponder integration with MailChimp and Aweber. And on this tab you can go through and set this. If you just put your MailChimp API key in here, it'll populate this list, so you no longer have to type complicated IDs for your lists. It will go out to MailChimp and it will find the correct lists that are associated with your account, and you can just select from one of those. You have the option of hiding the opt-in box if you want, and with MailChimp you also have the ability to not perform a double opt-in. With Aweber, they have their own capability to connect to their API, and so if you click this button, you can use their OAuth mechanism to connect to their API, and it's pretty straightforward and pretty clean. You'll also have the drop-down capability as well with Aweber. So finally, and this is probably the easiest here, is the internationalization settings. You can specify a country that your transactions will be set in. You can set your currency, and you can set your currency symbol to whatever you need in order to process credit cards in your locale. We're adding new locales every day, so don't be alarmed if you don't find your locale on this list. Just contact support and we can kind of add it as we go. But anyway, that's a good overview of the options, and hope that helps.